Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar Open University.
Hello, learners of Indian poetics. We have already discussed rasa theory in video number 15. This is video 16, and today we will discuss further about rasa theory and then Ramniyata, which is a concept propagated by Pandit Jagannath. Before I start talking about rasa theory and Ramniyata, I want to tell you something about knowledge. Knowledge is an eternal friend. There is a story in the Mahabharata that once the Pandavas were in the forest. They were all very thirsty. They wanted to drink water. So Bhim went in search of some lake or pond or river, and he reached a small pond and he wanted to drink water first. Suddenly, there was a voice from the pond. The voice said, "Don't drink water until you answer my questions. I am Yaksha, and I want to ask you questions. If you don't answer my questions first, and if you drink water, you will die." Bhim did not believe. He drank water and fell down, collapsed, and died. Then came Arjun and Sahadev and Nakul. All of them drank water and died. Lastly came Yudhishthir, Dharmaraj, a true king of religion, duty, knowledge. He came, and when he saw his brothers all dead, he was deeply grieved. He said, "What happened?" He touched the water, and then voice came from the pond. The voice said, "I am Yaksha, and I want to ask you questions. I tried to ask questions to your brothers, but they did not. And they drank water and they died. Now, if you do the same thing, you will also die." Yudhishthir said, "No, I will not drink water. I'll answer your questions first." And Yaksha questioned beautiful questions to Yudhishthir. One of the questions was, what is or who is true friend? Who is true companion? Yudhishthir said, Vidya, knowledge, Gyan is true companion, true friend. So with this story, I want to tell you this, that knowledge is an eternal friend. If you have knowledge, you can succeed in every field of life. And knowledge does not mean only limited subject, but it should be comprehensive, it should be inclusive, and one must try to know everything possible. So Indian poetics is a beautiful subject which we have discussed already, and this is the last video, and I am happy that you are able to listen to these videos and watch them, and I'm sure you will learn a lot. Learning is necessary. It is a lifelong process. Now let us start talking about rasa theory further. Yesterday we talked that sthai bhava is the basic of rasa theory. When there are commingling of vibhav, anubhav, sanchari bhav, rasa is created, and all rasas, 9 rasas, in fact there were 8, but even one was added later, Shanta Ras. So these different kinds of bhavas, vibhav, anubhav, sanchari bhav or vyabhichari bhav, when they commingle with sthai bhav, rasa is created, like sringara, hasya, karuna, etc. Now here we have a topic called sanchari bhav or vyabhichari bhav. Actually, these two words talk about the same thing, which is transient emotions. Sanchari bhav or vyabhichari bhav are short-lived emotions. They don't stay longer. They rise and subside soon. They come and they go. They are short-lived and supporting emotions to sthai bhava. But their use is they support the emotions of sthai bhava. There are 33 vyabhichari bhavas. So what is the list of vyabhichari bhavas? Vyabhichari bhavas are transient, short-lived, transitory emotions. They come and go. They do not live longer. They come for some time on human emotions and go away. There is a list of 33 vyabhichari bhavas. Nirved. Nirved means non-attachment. Glani, which is a kind of sadness. Shanka, doubt. Asuya, envy, jealousy. Mada, ego. Srama, hard work, labor. Alasya, laziness. Dainya, depression, which is a psychological concept. One becomes depressed mentally, doesn't get happiness. That is called dainya. Chinta, anxiety. Moha, attraction. Smriti, memory. Dhriti, contentment. Vrida, shame. Chapalata, inconstancy. Chapalta, inconstancy. Harsa, joy. Avega, agitation. Jadta, that is rigidity. Garva, pride or ego. Visada, sadness. Antashukya, impatience. Nidra, sleep. Apasamura, epilepsy. Falling down from neurological problem, it is called apasmara. Supta, dreaming. Vibhida, awakening. Amarsa, animosity, the state of being enemy. Avahita, constraint. Ugrata, curiosity. Mati, resolve. Vyadhi, vyadhi, sickness. Unmad, madness. Maran, death. Tras, terror. And vitarka, trepidation. These are 33 vyabhichari bhavas which appear on the face of, in the body of, in the gestures of the performers on the stage. And these vyabhichari bhavas support emotions of the sthai bhavas and create rasa. Rasanubhav. When vibhav, anubhav and vyabhichari bhavas commingle, they provide rasa in saradai, sensitive person. Rasanubhav is the experience of rasa. It happens when vibhav, anubhav and vyabhichari bhavas commingle, merge with each other. They provide ras in saradaya. We have already discussed saradaya. Saradaya is a sensitive person. He is a rasika jana. He is a person, connoisseur, who loves art, who understands art. He is a lover of aesthetics. And his heart is so soft that he can experience all rasas deeply. Saradaya experiences what actors present through the acting. When a Saradaya is watching a drama, he experiences what the actors present through their acting. It is our experience also that when we watch a film or watch a drama, we experience what the actor is presenting. However, it depends upon saradayata, sensitiveness. If you are very sensitive, you can experience it far better. And if you are not saradaya, you watch it. You watch a drama or you watch a film. You watch the actors acting, but your heart is not touched. When we see a tragedy, when we watch a tragedy, if tears do not come, you are not saradaya. Saradaya is one who experiences tragedy, and he or she also cries, weeps, and there is nothing wrong about it. Sometimes there are people who say, "Why are you weeping? This is a film. This is a drama. Yes, it is a drama, it is a film. But film and drama are the arts. If the hero dies, it doesn't mean that the actor has died. It is not like that. But when the hero dies, it is a tragic catastrophe. And tragic catastrophe should impact upon Sarodaya. Emotive experience goes beyond time and space. And real experience of rasa is emotive experience, and it goes beyond time and space. It is not limited to time, it is not limited to space. It is beyond time and space. It is transcendental. And that is why art is divine. Art is transcendental. Art is not a reality, but it is beyond reality. And that is why Aristotle has said that history is what has really happened, and literature is what can happen, what should happen, what would have happened. And so literature is far better than history. History may be reality, or we don't know really. Nobody has seen what had really happened. But history is about what had happened, and literature is what may happen. And what may happen, what can happen, what would happen is an important aspect of life. Sorrow takes place. You cannot escape from sorrow. There is nobody in the world who has not experienced sorrow. There is nobody in the world who has not, who lives immortally. No. Everybody dies sooner or later. These are the experiences which are presented, emotions which are presented in literature, in poetry, in art, in drama. So it is beyond time and space. It frees the individual from personal element, making him or her experience universal feelings. T.S. Eliot, in his famous book, Individual Tradition and the Individual Talent, he says that true literature is not personal, it is universal. It is not moving around emotions, personal emotions, but universal emotions. And the same thing happens here. It says that individual becomes free from personal element. Personal sorrow is not in literature. When you read about the death of the hero, you experience sorrow. But this sorrow is not personal, it is universal. And universal feeling is far important. Because ultimately, we are not a person. We are the part of the universe. We become universal when we experience universal feelings. So this is Rasanubhav. Then the last concept is Ramniyata. Ramniyata, the word Ramniyata comes from Ramaniya. Ramaniya is beautiful. Ramaniya is heart-touching. Ramaniya is something that presents beauty in an aesthetic manner. Pandit Jagannath, in his treatise Rasagangadhar, defined Ramaniyata. Pandit Jagannath was also a great poetician and famous critic. He was a scholar and he has written a book called Rasagangadhar. So the name Rasagangadhar is about rasa. And in his treatise, he defines Ramaniyata. What does he say about Ramaniyata? He said, the word that expresses beautiful meaning is kavya. What is kavya? Kavya is that where word expresses beautiful meaning. So beautiful meaning presented by words is kavya. And kavya should have Ramaniyata. And this Ramaniyata is the beauty, the beautiful meaning, the beautiful expression, the beautiful presentation. Aesthetic pleasure is transcendental bliss. When we experience aesthetic pleasure, it is beyond time, beyond space. You forget place, you forget time. It is like meditation, it is like samadhi, it is like dhyana. It is beyond material world, time and space. So that aesthetic pleasure is Ramaniyata. Jagannath enumerates following elements of aesthetic experience. And he says, what are the elements of aesthetic experience? He enumerates them. He says, aesthetic experience should be impersonal and objective. It is not personal. It is not subjective. It is objective. It is universal. So, when a great poet writes, he does not write about his own problems, his own sorrows. It is the presentation of universal feelings, universal emotions. So, universal emotions are presented in aesthetic work which presents aesthetic pleasure. It is objective and dispassionate. There should not be passion or passionateness, but one should be dispassionate if one writes poetry. It should be objective. It should be impersonal. It should be universal. It should be without passion, like Santa Rasa. It should be presented in a very neutral manner. Then it should have prominent experience. The experience should be prominent. And bliss should be blended with cognition. Bliss is joy, happiness, delight, ecstasy, which is blended with knowledge. Knowledge and joy together happens in aesthetic pleasure. Charming meaning. And the meaning should be very beautiful, it should be charming, it should be attractive, it should be fascinating. According to Pandit Jagannath, there are 4 types of kavyas. Uttamotama, the best of the best. Uttam, the best. Madhyam, mediocre. And Adham, lowly. Completely negligible. In poetry, even today, we find these 4 types. Uttamotama, Uttam, Madhyam and Adham. The characteristics of Uttamotam or Uttam should have Ramniyata, should have beautiful meaning and beautiful content. It should have universal appeal. If the universal appeal is there, then the poet, then the poem becomes Uttamotama, Uttam. Madhyam contains some universalization, but also ordinary things, and that why it becomes Madhyam. And Adham is without any good quality. Once I had a discussion with some of the poets, and when I was talking about T.S. Eliot and some great Western poets, they asked me, how are these poets so great, and why are not all poets so great in our language or in other language? I said, it is not so. Good poetry is everywhere, in Sanskrit, in Hindi, in Gujarati, in English, in all languages. But what are the major characteristics of great poetry? The major characteristics of great poetry is very simple, and it is universalization, eternalization. And I asked them, you have written a ghazal, for example, how long will it stay in the minds of the people, minds of the readers? Will it be there for 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, 100 years, 5,000 years? Kalidas is still famous. Shakespeare is still famous. Even in Gujarati, Umashankar Joshi or Sundaram or Ramesh Parekh, we don't forget them. We remember their words. When we remember Umashankar Joshi, we remember his poem, Bhomiya Vina Mare Bhamavata Dungara Jangalni Kunj Kunj Jovi Hati. This is Ramniyata. And this Ramniyata is very important in poetry. So Jagannath's views on Ramniyata is really important. Ramniyata is the element of literary compositions, all literary compositions, poetry, drama, novel, and so on. Verbal discourse that communicates beautiful meaning is kavya. But what is kavya? Kavya is something that communicates beautiful meaning through words. Ramniyata produces extraordinary delight in bhavakas, and Ramniyata creates extraordinary delight in bhavak. He calls it Lokotar Ahlad. Pandit Jagannath uses a very beautiful words. He says, Lokotar Ahlad, the joy which is beyond people. It is not the worldly joy, but it is beyond worldly joy. It is transcendental joy, transcendental ecstasy. It is like meditation, the delight that transcends worldly pleasures. Worldly pleasures are short-lived, but aesthetic delight, Ramniyata, creates joy, ahlad, beyond worldly pleasures. So poetry should have three elements: beautiful language, aesthetic delight, and beautiful meaning. You must remember these three things. Beautiful language is necessary in poetry. Aesthetic delight is the goal of poetry, and beautiful meaning, which survives for thousands of years. We never forget it. The meaning, beautiful meaning, universal meaning, the meaning with eternity, universality, is the part of great poetry. So with this, we end all our videos. There were 16 videos, and during our 16 videos we discussed Alankar Shastra, Vakrokti, Auchitya, Rasa theory, and so on. You must remember one thing, that Indian poetics is highly scholarly, philosophical, spiritual, and also eternally appealing. Western criticism is all right, but Indian poetics is connected with philosophy, with Tattva-Gyan, with spirituality, and even psychology, modern psychology. Modern psychology actually took place during these last 200 years or so. But in the list of Sanchari Bhavas, you must have seen that there were many neurological problems. These neurological problems are treated in neurology in modern times, but these problems were eternal, and our writers, our poeticians were aware of this, and that is why they have presented the list. So I recommend you to read books on Indian poetics and learn more. So I am thankful to you for listening to me during these 16 videos. It is the duty of a teacher to communicate with the students and merge with the students. As a retired professor, when I am in the classroom, as Umashankar Joshi had said, for me, Varg is Swarg. Umashankar Joshi said, Mara mate, Varg is Swarg che. The same thing is about me as a professor, as a teacher. I am very happy to communicate with you. So I thank you with all my heart, from the depth of my heart. Thank you very much. Thank you.